There comes a moment in life when you realize something unsettling. The people who drain your energy the most, the ones who disrespect your boundaries and manipulate your emotions, are often the ones closest to you. They might be family members you've known your entire life. They might be friends you've trusted for years. But somewhere along the way, their presence stopped feeling like a gift and started feeling like a weight. You begin to notice the patterns, the subtle put-downs disguised as jokes, the way they dismiss your feelings, the constant drama that somehow always pulls you in. And you wonder, how do you deal with people like this when cutting them off completely isn't always an option? How do you protect your peace without destroying yourself in the process? The Stoics understood this challenge long before modern psychology gave it a name. 2,000 years ago, they recognized that not everyone who surrounds you deserves equal access to your inner world. They taught that some people will try to poison your peace, whether through malice or ignorance, and that your greatest power lies not in changing them, but in mastering yourself. The Stoic approach to toxic people isn't rooted in anger, revenge, or dramatic confrontation. It's found in something far more powerful: emotional mastery, reasoned detachment, and the quiet strength to walk away from what no longer serves your soul. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor of Rome, understood betrayal intimately. He faced envy and treachery, not from distant enemies, but from those within his own circle. His own family members plotted against him. Friends he trusted turned their backs when it benefited them. Yet in his private writings, the meditations he wrote to himself in the stillness of night, he never allowed their darkness to corrupt his own light. He wrote that when people act out of ignorance, greed, or selfishness, it reveals their nature, not yours. Their behavior is a reflection of their inner chaos, their lack of virtue, their disconnection from reason. And your task is not to become like them. Your duty is to remain calm, to stay virtuous, to refuse to let their poison seep into your soul. This is what separates the Stoic from the ordinary person. The ordinary person reacts. The Stoic responds with clarity. Epictetus, who began his life as a slave and became one of the greatest Stoic teachers, taught a principle that transforms how we see toxic relationships. He said that we cannot control the actions of others. We can only control our own responses. This simple truth carries immense power. When you accept that you cannot make a toxic person behave with decency, you stop wasting energy trying to change them. You stop explaining yourself over and over to someone who refuses to understand. You stop hoping they'll suddenly see the light and treat you with respect. Instead, you shift your focus to the one thing you have absolute control over: your own mind, your own reactions, your own peace. The Stoic doesn't demand that everyone around him be kind or fair. He simply maintains his composure, regardless of how others choose to act. And in that composure, he finds a power that no one can take from him. Here's something most people don't understand about toxic individuals. They thrive on emotional reaction. They feed on drama, chaos, and conflict. When you get angry, when you defend yourself frantically, when you engage in endless arguments trying to prove your point, you give them exactly what they want. Your emotional energy becomes their fuel. They've pulled you down to their level, and now they're winning a game you didn't even know you were playing. But when you respond with silence, when you maintain emotional distance, when you refuse to be provoked, something shifts. You deny them the reaction they crave. You remove yourself from their game entirely, and suddenly, they have no power over you anymore. This is what the Stoics knew: that silence, when wielded with wisdom, becomes an impenetrable shield. The Stoics used silence not as a weapon of passive aggression, but as a tool of preservation. They understood that some battles aren't worth fighting because the act of fighting costs you more than any victory could gain. When Marcus Aurelius faced criticism and betrayal, he didn't waste time defending his honor to those who had already decided to misunderstand him. He simply withdrew his energy from them. He stopped giving them access to his inner peace. This wasn't weakness. This was mastery. Because every moment you spend explaining yourself to someone determined to twist your words is a moment stolen from your own growth, your own tranquility, your own purpose. The Stoic withdraws his emotional investment from those who drain it and redirects it toward what truly matters, toward virtue, toward wisdom, toward the people who actually deserve his presence. There's a concept the Stoics held sacred that the modern world desperately needs to relearn. Boundaries are not cruelty. They are virtue. Setting a boundary with a toxic person doesn't mean you hate them. It means you value your own peace enough to stop letting it be destroyed. It means you recognize that kindness without discernment leads to suffering, both for yourself and paradoxically for them as well. When you allow someone to continuously disrespect you without consequence, you're teaching them that their behavior is acceptable. You're enabling their toxicity. The truly compassionate thing, the truly stoic thing, is to step back, to create distance, to stop participating in the dysfunction. Seneca warned that if you spend too much time with corrupt or chaotic people, their habits will seep into your character like water through cracks in stone. The Stoic, therefore, chooses his company with careful deliberation. He remains respectful. He doesn't burn bridges unnecessarily, but he is absolutely firm in his distance from those who threaten his inner peace. Now, bring this ancient wisdom into the modern world. Family dinners where someone always starts an argument. Friendships that feel more like obligations than genuine connections. Relatives who bring up your past failures every chance they get. Social media interactions where people you barely know feel entitled to your time and emotional labor. The modern Stoic doesn't explode in anger. He doesn't beg for understanding. He doesn't chase validation from people who've already shown they don't value him. Instead, he observes. He watches the patterns repeat. He notices how these people make him feel. And then, quietly, without fanfare or explanation, he detaches. He protects his peace through awareness and inner restraint. He shows up when necessary. But he no longer invests his heart in people who've proven they'll only break it. This is crucial to understand. Emotional detachment is not the same as coldness. It's not about becoming heartless or bitter. Detachment means clarity. It means seeing the situation for what it truly is, without the fog of obligation, guilt, or false hope clouding your judgment. It means refusing to participate in drama that destroys your inner balance. When someone disrespects you once, it might be a misunderstanding. When they disrespect you repeatedly, despite your attempts to communicate, it's a pattern. It's who they are. And the Stoic doesn't keep hitting his head against the same wall, hoping it will turn into a door. He simply steps back. Not to punish the other person, not to make them feel guilty, but to preserve himself, because he knows that his peace, his mental clarity, his emotional stability, these are not luxuries. They are necessities. They are the foundation upon which his entire life is built. Reflect on how this practice of detachment begins to transform your life. You stop explaining yourself to people who will twist your words no matter what you say. You realize that no explanation will ever be good enough for someone committed to misunderstanding you. You stop arguing with people whose minds are already made up, who aren't listening to understand but only waiting for their turn to attack. You stop giving attention and emotional energy to people who mistake your kindness for weakness, who see your patience as permission to take more and more from you. Instead, you walk away quietly. You reclaim your time. You redirect your energy toward people and pursuits that actually nourish your soul. Because your peace is not something to be negotiated. It's not something to be earned through perfect behavior or endless justification. Your peace is priceless. And you are the only one who can protect it. Here's what happens when you truly embody this Stoic composure. It unsettles toxic people. When they can't provoke you anymore, when their usual tactics fail to get a reaction, they lose control of the dynamic. Some will escalate, trying harder to pull you back into the chaos. Others will simply move on to find someone else to drain. But either way, you remain unmoved. Your silence becomes unshakable. Your boundaries become unbreakable. And in that steadiness, you discover a strength you didn't know you possessed. True power isn't found in shouting the loudest or winning every argument. True power is found in stillness, in the ability to remain calm when everyone around you is losing their minds, in the discipline to walk away from situations that serve no purpose other than to disturb your peace. This is what the Stoics meant by inner strength. Not the strength to dominate others, but the strength to master yourself. The Stoic philosophers taught that some relationships come into your life to teach you lessons, not to last forever. And one of the hardest lessons to learn is this: letting go is not a failure. It's not cruelty, it's wisdom. There's a profound difference between giving up on someone out of spite and consciously choosing to release them because the relationship has become toxic to your well-being. The Stoic doesn't hold grudges. He doesn't harbor resentment. He simply recognizes that his energy is finite, his time is limited, and he has a responsibility to himself to spend both wisely. When a relationship consistently brings more pain than growth, more chaos than peace, more destruction than construction, the wise choice is to let it go, not with anger, not with bitterness, but with acceptance. With the understanding that you cannot save someone who doesn't want to be saved, and you cannot change someone who doesn't see a problem with their behavior. Marcus Aurelius wrote something that has echoed through the centuries, a reminder that cuts to the heart of how we should deal with those who wrong us. He said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." Think about the profound wisdom in those words. When someone treats you with disrespect, manipulation, or cruelty, your natural instinct might be to retaliate, to hurt them back, to show them how it feels. But the moment you do that, you've become like them. You've allowed their darkness to infect your soul. The true victory, the Stoic victory, is to remain virtuous in the face of their vice, to stay calm when they are chaotic, to maintain your integrity when they've abandoned theirs. This doesn't mean you become a doormat. It means you refuse to lower yourself to their level. You protect your character by not allowing their behavior to change who you are. Walking away from toxicity is not weakness. It's enlightenment. It's the moment you realize that not every relationship deserves to be saved, that not every person deserves unlimited chances, that your presence in someone's life is a gift, not a given. When you understand this, everything changes. You stop feeling guilty for enforcing boundaries. You stop feeling obligated to maintain relationships that cost you your peace. You recognize that sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself and even for them is to create distance, to let them face the consequences of their actions without you, there to cushion the blow, to give them the space to either grow or continue in their patterns while you move forward on your own path. The ancient Stoics lived in a world not so different from ours. They dealt with difficult family members. They navigated complex social dynamics. They faced betrayal from people they trusted. Yet they found a way to maintain their peace, their purpose, and their power. They did this not by controlling others, but by mastering themselves. Not by changing the world around them, but by changing their relationship to it. And this same wisdom is available to you right now. You don't need to argue with toxic people. You don't need to make them understand. You don't need their approval or their validation. You simply need to recognize your own worth, protect your own peace, and have the courage to walk away from anything or anyone that threatens it. When you protect your peace, you protect your power. Because peace isn't just the absence of conflict. It's the foundation of everything meaningful in your life. It's the clarity you need to make good decisions. It's the energy you need to pursue your purpose. It's the stability you need to build genuine relationships with people who actually deserve your trust. When you allow toxic people to steal your peace, you're not just losing tranquility. You're losing access to the best version of yourself. You're giving away the very thing that makes you capable of creating a life worth living. The Stoic understands this. He guards his inner world the way a king guards his kingdom. Not everyone gets access. Not everyone deserves a seat at the table of his mind. And those who prove themselves unworthy through their actions are quietly, calmly, but firmly shown the door. This is the way of the Stoic, to face toxicity not with rage, but with reason. To deal with difficult people not through confrontation, but through careful detachment. To protect your peace, not by building walls of anger, but by cultivating an inner fortress of wisdom and self-control. The Stoics knew that you cannot control who enters your life, but you absolutely can control who remains in it. You can decide who gets your time, your energy, your emotional investment, And when you make that decision from a place of clarity rather than emotion, from wisdom rather than guilt, from strength rather than fear, you reclaim your power. You step into a version of yourself that is no longer controlled by the chaos of others. You become unmoved by manipulation, unbothered by disrespect, and unshaken by the drama that once consumed you. This is freedom. This is peace. This is the Stoic way.